Welcome! Can you believe it? It's day 14 of the Samford Edible Garden Trail. And today we're back with Arran. We saw him on day 2, but this time we're with Arran here from Millen Farm, Permaculture style market gardens. And hopefully you've seen the video we released this morning, which was all about the tree systems that are going on here at the farm. And so today's a Q&A. Arran's going to go, first of all, show us some of the plantings here, just in this little space. We're going to have a bit of an exploration and we'll have a chance I'll ask a few questions. So anybody watching, please start firing questions and we'll ask them to Arran and also related to the last video as well. So
one question that's come through is how many candles on the birthday cake, Suzanne?
Oh, okay.
Just joking, that wasn't a question. No. You don't need to answer that. But happy birthday.
Thank you, birthday. The best thing, being in the garden on my birthday. Couldn't want anything else. So, Arran, thank you very much again.
No worries.
For meeting with us.
Thank you.
It's a beautiful day.
It is. We're very lucky.
We actually had some rain last night, which was extra special.
Yeah, we definitely needed it.
Yeah. So we're going to start off here at this very interesting plant, and I'm going to hand it over to you, Arran.
Sure.
I'd love you to talk to us about.
Yeah, definitely.
What is it? And
sure. So this is Portuguese tree collard. So up in this section of the farm, we've really done a lot of experimentation with the no-dig system. So a lot of these, well actually all of these beds up here were originally no-dig beds. They carried all of the garlic, the turmeric, and up here we're doing a little bit of experimentation with stacking strata using biennials and perennials. So you can sort of see down here we've got the Okinawan spinach. We move up through here, we've got the gooseberries moving their way through the Portuguese tree collard. Now this tree collard is an amazing thing because when we rip one off, just like that, so there we go. So there's, and we break that there. So now we can plant 2 of those. Actually, look at that, we've got 3. So we can plant 3 plants in the ground and get 3 plants from this. And this is a perennial. So up here, this gets no water whatsoever from anything other than rain. So you can see that these type of plants really suit a subtropical environment where we don't really need to care for them that much, but we're creating all this perennial food that we can continually harvest. So you can see that the Okinawan spinach up the top, the gooseberries, the Portuguese tree collards. As we move down through here, this is the old red eggplant. So this is now just the biomass that was created by this eggplant has now created position where we can chop this down now, chop and drop, put in another plant down the bottom there and get things going in that spot where that originally was. No dig whatsoever. Okay. As we move up through here, you can see that this is a prime example of where nature chooses the plant to grow is possibly the best place for that plant to grow. So this tomato's just come up in the middle of the paddock just here. You can see how green the leaves are. You can see how many tomatoes are in there. Creating harvest from something that is a volunteer is definitely one of the best permaculture style way of looking at transitioning things and using nature because nature does what nature does best. Yeah.
Can I ask you a little bit more about
Yeah, sure.
So 3 plants.
3 plants, yeah.
Jason, one for you, one for me. How will people eat this?
This is one of the original brassicas. It was taken from an island near England and taken back to Portugal. In Portugal, the way that the plant was transitioned was that this part of the plant in Portugal gets quite large and elongated, and it's almost like a beautiful Kohlrabi flavour. So that's a delicacy in Portugal. But on the island near England, the leaf is the predominant thing that the people eat. So stripping off the leaves, eating the leaves, but waiting until this bulb just here bulbs up really nicely, that's the real delicacy. That's the most beautiful part of the plant. Obviously, you just break that off and we can...
Is that a bit like a broccoli stalk type thing?
Kohlrabi.
Kohlrabi,
Yeah,
okay.
it's got that sweet juiciness of a kohlrabi.
The colour these.
Yeah,
That's the
definitely.
colour. So I can vouch for these being easy to plant, because when we came here a couple of weeks ago, we filmed Arran for the tree systems video, and I was asking about this then, and we walked past and Arran just grabbed a couple of bits like that, and I took them home, and I've literally just done that into the garden, and they're thriving already, and that's in a couple of weeks. I can see they're really happy with it. So that's
Super amazing.
yeah, it doesn't have to be complicated.
No way.
Yeah, especially when you know somebody. That's, as I said, one of my earlier tricks, get to know some other farmers and backyard growers. That's the best way to make your garden grow.
Oh, definitely. I think another great thing is to join a local gardening group. Out here we've got the Samford Local Growers. It's a large crew. They visit people. Obviously they're not visiting people during Corona, but they visit people once a month on that general visit and go round, and they swap cuttings, they swap plants, they swap seeds. So getting into that mindset where we're building community around what we're trying to do. Yeah, definitely.
Thank you.
No worries. So let's start talking about some biomass growers, and then we'll walk down this way, shall we? And then answer some questions. Does it sound okay?
Yeah, that sounds good. And I know there'll be questions about the no dig trials
Yeah,
done
cool.
here. So when we get to the end, we'll
Yeah,
talk a bit
no
more
worries.
about that.
Yep, sure.
So let's have a look at some biomass, and also
Sure.
can you just talk about, like, I mean, we've got lots of people watching who might just be starting out. So
Yeah,
it's
sure.
kind of like, what's the deal with biomass?
What's the
why
deal
do
with
why do we
biomass?
care about biomass?
Oh, sure. So if we walk up here, we can start to talk about why we grow biomass on site. So this is in situ biomass. This is lab, by the way. And what we do is we put this down in an area where we want to plant a tree in the future. And that way, instead of bringing mulch on site when we plant the tree, we're just basically, at first, what I would do is walk into the middle in here, chop a hole in the middle of this lab, chop it all out, create a circle, dig the hole for where my plant will be planted. The tree will come up, and you can see there's a tree that failed. That was an avocado that failed, but that's okay. These things happen. You can see we've prepared this soil, 3 or 4 months out. We've dug that hole, prepared that hole, and then planted this lab up. We didn't have the lab here before that avocado was planted. The avocado was just planted here by itself, which is why we decided we're in such a harsh environment here that we really need to build our own biomass, this stuff, on site rather than buying it in, and be able to chop that down, but also allow for that protection of that young tree as it gets going, to really support it with the lab itself. So you can see that using on-site biomass production saves us hundreds and hundreds of dollars in mulch.
And that's amazingly prolific too, the lab.
Awesome.
Yeah.
You have to, this lab's a little bit tricky. You have to be a little bit careful with it, especially around river systems and all that sort of stuff. So choosing where you use this one, but it is one of the best biomass production things out there. It's just prolific, and it's nitrogen fixing too. So it's both in one, which is it's up.
And I'm assuming if you've got some livestock, it probably is a great fodder. Yeah.
100%. Yeah, it's you could definitely use it for that. 100%.
And again, no water here. This is
No
just
water.
doing its own thing.
No water. This is all doing it all of itself. Yep. Only rain. Yep. This whole top section of the farm has irrigation, but has been without water since October. So we've seen that really tough summer, and all these plants are still thriving through that really tough summer. Yeah. All right. Well, let's have a wander down this way. This is Arrowroot Rojo. This is Tamarillo coming in over the top of that. You can even see just here, in the middle of the paddock, we've got a little frilly leaf mustard. So letting nature do what nature does best. Once again, I'm not going to eat that because I'm damn hot and I won't be able to breathe afterwards. Tasty in a salad. Not so great by itself, especially when you're trying to talk on camera. So.
Yep. Hey, just before we go on there, we did have one question. Other than Lab, what are some other good biomass plants?
Oh, so there's heaps of different ones. Pigeon pea is another great one, and then if you are thinking about it in a really different frame of mind, that we're only putting down one set of roots here, and that's the Fabergé family, obviously the nitrogen fixing Fabergés. But when we start to transition to filling in food forests and things like that in a full productive system, we're trying to put in as many different root structures as possible. So I always try to think of 5 different families and put those 5 different families in. The Brassica, the Chenopod, the Fabergé, the cereal crop, and sorry, I'm forgetting the 5th one, but if we can get as many diverse root structures inside the ground, we're creating a larger population, diverse population, I should say, of microbiology that then will support the rest of the growth of the system.
Yeah, there's something magic when the 5 come together.
Oh,
That's what I've heard.
Yeah,
there's
definitely.
something exponential happens.
Yeah. You just get that mix of all those different root structures.
Yeah.
Different things happening on top, but also different things happening below the ground that create that biology.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there's a request for a bit more information around the Airroute. I mean, Airroute is a great biomass plant as well,
Awesome.
right?
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that you can put almost anywhere as well. When it's in the wet season, there's just pumps, and it's prolific in the way it produces, but also like it creates a bulb down there.
Yep.
And we can dig this up and eat the bulb. It's a lot like a turmeric in the way that it sort of grows.
Put one out.
Yeah, so you can see that there's one of the little arrowroots growing on there. So this would be chockers through there. And once again, you can pull this off. You can break this in half, plant 1, 2, plant that one. They all plant. So it's a great one to be able to buy it, but then spread it yourself with no money involved whatsoever.
And then all the rest of this is basically biomass.
Definitely. Yeah. So once again, you could just
Build
chop
soil.
and chop it all the way through this system, or just keep it. We sort of keep it at the moment because we're trying to really protect these tamarillos.
Yep.
Because they like a little bit more water than everything else, and their tamarillos are struggling.
Yep.
I'm gonna admit.
Yep.
In this system where it gets no water, the tamarillos are definitely doing not the greatest. But you can see.
Oh, this one's...
Yeah, it's definitely producing fruit, but you can see the size of the fruit, you can see the legginess of the plant, you can see that the leaf production.
Yeah.
These plants normally have a habit that's really, really quite wide, quite large, but you can see they're quite spindly without that little bit of extra water.
Such a good
Oh, so good, yeah, I know. Yeah.
And the Airroutes, they can be eaten as well too.
Definitely.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely.
And the fact that
the arrowroot biscuits.
Yep.
Arrowroot flour.
Yeah.
But they're also delicious just roasted. I quite like them just roasted in the oven. They're quite nice. It's got a funny sort of flavour. Do you want to anyone want to taste?
You'll pass? Well, not right now on camera, but. And another question that was whether the Lab could withstand frosts.
Because it has so many leaves sitting at so many different strata levels, the top layer of leaves will die.
Yeah.
But it's left with all those other leaves that are continued into that strata. So the whole plant's not going to die.
Yeah.
Continued frost after frost after frost will definitely make it go smaller and smaller.
Yeah.
And we've definitely seen some of these plants get smaller and smaller during our frost period.
Sure.
but they've always bounced straight back
Yeah.
as soon as we've hit spring.
And they're also a prolific seeder, so you can reuse the
100%
seeds.
collect
Exactly.
seed 100
Yeah.
miles an hour. So it's
Yeah.
once again, you don't have to buy all that much of it
Yeah.
to get going. On a farm situation, I think we bought a 20 kilo bag and I've still got 15 kilos sitting there.
Of
So
the seed.
yeah.
There's nothing edible about this one though, is there? This is just this is about biomass.
Yeah. I suppose you could eat it because it is something that you could eat, but it's not very tasty.
No. Much nicer to eat this one, really.
Yeah, for sure.
Plant for your steak at the time.
Yeah, no, definitely. All right, so let's take a wander down here and we'll have a look at. So this one, so this one here, and this is another great one for the home situation. Once again, this gets no water up here. This is an Egyptian spinach. It's annual. It comes up just as it starts to cool off in that cooler weather, and comes up, and you can pick these leaves off and eat leaves. So we pick all these leaves for the salads and do all sorts of things for them. It's a delicious flavour.
Yeah, that's right. Is this one that is better cooked? Is this,
You can eat it raw or cook it. It doesn't matter. It's got quite a low oxalic acid level, so you can eat it raw. But you can see that there's no white coming out through that stem there. So this one's a great one for the home gardener too, because it's an annual. It comes up. You pick and pick and pick and pick. It seeds itself. The seeds all fall off, and now you can see all through this area that's completely loaded now with the Egyptian spinach. Not even on the rows, on the paths. It's basically everywhere now. And once again, using that volunteer way of thinking that this is how I'm going to make it easy for myself. If I don't have to plant it and it replants itself every year, that's a great thing for the home gardener.
I really like the taste. It's about really just getting used to different tastes.
Oh, for sure. Oh, definitely. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. It lasts ages too. The great thing about this leaf, because it's quite thick, it lasts ages in the fridge too. So you can pick a whole heap and then just throw it in the fridge.
So it's an annual. When's a good time to put it in?
So it'll start popping itself up the same time that you put in Brassica, so around that March, April sort of time.
And then just let it go to seed?
Let it go.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, just let it go. And that's what we do every season. So you can either collect the seed, replant the seed where you want the seed, or just let it go wild. Yeah. And it's a great one to be in that part of the strata where you can sort of start to underplant, but overplant over the top, and build that sort of.
Well, it's got a nice taste to it. I just tried it for the first time. Yummy.
Yeah, it's delicious. I used to go in all the salad mixes at Millen Farm, so we did a whole row, or not a whole row, but up to the Tamarellos there. We did a big trial. Very popular, very tasty.
Yep. Yeah. So where did the seeds come from originally? Because someone's asking about where do you source the seeds from?
Well, once again, I think I got it from someone in the Samford local food
Right.
Sounds like marijuana might be a person who
Yeah.
does sorts of things.
So once again, joining up with those clubs gives you access to so many different diverse species. I don't exactly know where you'd get it from.
Otherwise,
But probably Green Harvest and
Eden Seeds,
yeah.
maybe.
Yeah, I haven't
Do a bit
looked
of
it
a
up.
search online. Yeah, you need to look a bit beyond sometimes your local nursery to find some of the more unusual
definitely,
ones like this. But there are a lot of online companies.
Yeah, sometimes Northeast Street as well, City Farm, they have quite a lot of different permaculture style edible plants, so that might be another good one to check out.
If you're interested.
There was a question from earlier. How does fire affect the system? Now I'm assuming here we don't. There's no use of fire to manage any of this.
No, there's no use of fire to manage any of it.
Yep.
If we were in a fire-prone zone, we'd be planting long-term evergreens that don't. We wouldn't be planting eucalypts and things like that. It's about choosing your species correctly, so that we sort of create that. I think Diggers Club was a prime example when that fire came through Diggers and they had that massive evergreen tree over that historic building, and it completely saved the building from being burnt down. So I think that's a prime example of using perennials and evergreen perennials to sort of suppress out that.
Yeah.
We don't want the fire to travel.
Yeah.
So Aaron, can you talk a bit about here? You were
Yeah,
saying
sure.
that there was initially a trial done. You said about trying a no-dig method
Yeah,
in a
sure.
market garden.
In a
setting.
market garden
Yeah,
situation,
because,
yeah. So what we did was these 4 beds, we might just wander down here so we get away from that car noise a little bit. So you can see 1, 2, 3, 4. These ones used to run our garlic. This one runs our turmeric. It's just about finished up, and that one was a real tester of a strata build. So when we first built these beds, all we did was cut the grass really short. We came along with a small layer of soil amendments. So we got soil testing done and we put down our soil amendments on that layer. We then spread a small layer of compost just to create the bond between the soil and the cardboard. So the cardboard was obviously the next layer after that. So we soaked all of our cardboard heavily. We soaked our cardboard in a mixture of fish and seaweed solution that once it soaked, it filled up and created the habitat, but also created the food inside the cardboard itself. And then what we did was we placed down the grass that we just cut off here, the biomass that we produced here on site, right here in both paths, right next door, put that over the top. We then put down a layer of manure, we put down a layer of brown materials, and then we did that twice. And the beds came up a little bit high, and then we covered it all with compost, and then we let that sit. That sat for about two or 3 weeks before we give it a crack, and it definitely did grow stuff. So the garlic did quite well, definitely in that first year. The second year it did a lot better. So that first year was a little bit funny, but in that second year you could really start to feel that what we'd done there is built that biology level up. Okay. Yeah. So that this was a real test, because what it was a lot of about approaching things differently here at Millen Farm, and we're doing a lot of different testing using different systems, different models, all sorts of different ways that we grow food, so that we could find a way that suited our site best. And that's sort of the way you sort of need to think about things if you're going to do it in a market garden situation, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And actually, as you were speaking, Aaron, I just realised that when I was here a couple of weeks ago, we took a short video, which I've just realised we've forgotten to post. It was actually Aaron explaining that Millen Farm is under cover crop at the moment.
Yes.
Could you just extensively, in the midst of everything, we haven't put it up, maybe could you just explain that it's under cover crop?
Yeah, sure.
Why we're not seeing that?
Well, we're not seeing
Because
any
I realised
crops,
that people
yeah.
wouldn't have seen that
Yeah.
video, which actually explains. Yeah, and just,
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
So we're in a really exciting time here at Millen Farm. The infrastructure is just about all being put in now. We've got the community hub going in. We've got the brand new car park. We've got the road. It's just about finished. All that sort of stuff. We've been without water since October, but the times ahead are so exciting for Millen Farm now that we've got this site nearly basically all finished off. And I think it's only been up and up and up and up for Millen Farm after that.
Yeah.
So that's why we're in cover.
There was
crop at the
basically a lot of
moment.
building works here, so it wasn't the right place for the market, the garden at the time.
No, definitely not.
That's-
Yeah, you can't have a market garden without water.
So thank you for explaining that.
No
Good
worries.
question. So
Let's go for a wander down
Okay.
here. We'll just have a...
Ah, yes.
So you can see in here, this is where one of the drains...
Oh, jeez.
It's full of water. Careful, careful. We've just had rain last night.
I've just got a wet
A
shoe.
wet shoe. So that is funny. I should have mentioned that. Yeah, so this is one of the drains here on Millen Farm. So it's a really complicated design in the way that this interacts with the system that is around Millen Farm here with the swale. So it's really it's hard to explain, but I'm going to try anyway, Suzanne. So we have a drain just here, and if we put the swale path or the swale bottom at the height of the bottom of that pipe, it would have meant that the swale was another metre down the hill because of the way that the contour works here at Millen Farm. So to do something different and redesign a swale so that the swale bottom is the swale path, but we've actually got another 300 mil tunnel up the middle that's filled with rocks and aggie pipe that is at the level of halfway up the pipe, so that we can hold water here for longer before it travels out through there. So it gives us an extra couple of metres on the market garden because we've moved the swale up the hill, but it's also created this redesign of a swale where now we've got a little swale tunnel, I suppose, up the middle of it, filled with rocks that carries water from here when it's a little bit too full, soaks it subterraneously through that contour of the farm, and during all these small periods of rain, you can see this all holds water. We've got beautiful bulrushes in here. We haven't seen rain for a little while, but this down here is kangkong. So kangkong is another water-loving plant from the tropics, so have a taste of that, Suzanne. Have you guys got kangkong at home?
We have, and then it's died, and then it's,
That's the trouble with kangkong, isn't it? Yeah, it likes a lot of water.
Yes.
So during a period of rain where this is quite full, the kangkong grows right up and gets quite prolific through this section. So it creates another harvestable product inside what is a really cool drain system. Yeah.
And so this is all about slowing the water down.
Definitely. This is not only about slowing the water, but also protecting the farm. Because these drains obviously used to flow straight through the middle of the farm.
And then that would take all the topsoil away, destroy it. So this is about thinking through water, slowing it down, using it. And
definitely.
clever design.
It's super clever. It's also complex in a way that it sort of uses different ideas inside a swale. Yeah, it is pretty cool. And when we first built it, it was just all bare rock. You know, I think if you go back to photos of Millen Farm 4 years ago, it's crazy.
I remember being here when it was just open, completely open.
Paddock.
Yeah.
Paddock.
Yeah.
I remember walking around many times in the bare paddock. Yeah.
It's easy to forget that when you see something like this and it looks finished, like a garden's never finished, but it's established.
Yeah, I know.
But to realise that you can create this in a relatively short period of time.
Yeah, short
is very
time.
inspirational.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. It's been phenomenal how fast that Millen Farm has jumped out of the ground. Yeah. We've been very lucky here, having that extra bit of support through some labour. So that's helped push things forward a lot faster.
Yeah, with volunteers and the
no, Maris 180.
Sorry,
Which is a training program that we put on. So we put on a couple of different training programs here at Millen Farm. We put on Construction Certificate 1. We also put on Conservation and Land Management. The Conservation and Land Management course has finished up now. But that was the main building force behind the farm was the Conservation and Land Management Certificate 1 course. And we also went for Traineeship of the Year award for that traineeship, which was pretty cool too.
Oh, good.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice, cool.
Do we have any questions, Jason?
We don't have any other ones. I've been trying to pepper them through the whole presentation. So.
I was having a sleep in on a Saturday morning.
Fair enough, I'd want to too.
Yeah. All right. Is there anything else we wanted to go through?
Well,
what do you want to talk about? There's plenty still to go if you want to keep going. Or?
I'm happy to keep going. What time is it? Let's go for another 5 minutes.
Sure, okay. Well, let's wander through this little set. Yeah. So let's have a little wander through here. Can you walk through here too, Jay?
Yeah.
Do you want to go? Do you want to go in, Jason?
Yeah,
I'll
I'll go.
follow you.
And now we can start to see this,
Oh, yeah.
this strata building. all the stacking, but also using these.
Native.
So
Native
my
beehive.
friend's a tree lopper, and this was a native beehive that they came across. It was just about to go into the chipper when he saw the native bees flying out of it. So what we did was put a little top on it, brought it to the farm, and now we've got a natural
nice.
native beehive.
Beautiful.
Very
Yeah,
nice.
isn't it just? We've got a few of them, and you can sort of see them around us now. They're getting a little bit
Oh yeah,
angry, so we might just.
they were pretty good.
might just-
They really love the basil like this, so this is such a great insect attracting
Beautiful
plant.
Small flower too, which allows those small native bees to actually be able to access it as well.
Yep.
So it's a great one. And you can see through here the stacking. We've got little natives all the way through. We've got the orchids. We've got the saba nuts, the galangal. You move through here. It's just more and more citrus. Another support species. You can see the stacking. You can see things dying off, and just now we can just chop those down. Become biomass that we just grew on site, creating a new space then for a new
Yep.
plant to go in. Using that no-dig train of thought and really just transitioning through the system and constantly evolving the system. Just behind us, is that a Brazilian? I think it's a Brazilian cherry just there behind you. So you can see we're stacked with stuff. Cassava.
Yeah, there's so much in one space.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it?
And lots of movement in the soil. I feel not good walking on it.
Yeah,
because,
so-
I'm compacting it, but it's I can feel
It's
they're
soft.
So,
Yeah,
they're
it's
soft.
very
wonderful.
soft. Yeah, it's beautiful. We're also doing a little trial. So this stuff that you're stepping on there, this is old mushroom inoculant that grew mushrooms. So what we're doing is laying these old mushroom buckets all the way through the swale as well, creating that mycelium bond
Yes.
with the soil as well. Maybe creating a second harvest, maybe. We're going to wait and see. It's a real trial to see if it's going to work. But using those things as well and trying to inoculate things where we're really thinking about fungus.
So I'm curious because after we talked to Maddie Mushroom earlier in the week, I got some compost.
Yeah.
Mushroom compost from her, and
Yeah.
just yesterday I was in my garden. I was thinking, I've got this bag, and I was like, what's the best use I can, use this for? Like, how can I maximize it? So I tried a few different things,
Yeah.
and I put some on the top of my garden beds, and then I dug some in, and I was really, there were a lot of the questions. Like, is it better to dig it in? Is it put it on the top? Like, I mean, I don't know that you know the answers. but
No. So we're doing a
it's
whole
sort of
heap of trials at the
experimenting,
moment.
isn't it?
Yeah.
And then
a
trying
whole
to,
heap.
so I sort of did one in one bed, and I did it different in the other, and I thought
Yeah,
I'll come
right.
back and I'll
Yeah,
look
right.
and I'll see what happens.
Yeah.
And,
So we also did a couple of trials at home where we're doing shiitake logs. So we're drilling holes in logs and inoculating logs, and putting them in food forests, so that we try and get a shiitake mushroom harvest as well through the tree systems, which is quite cool. Also trialing the oyster style mushrooms in an actual garden bed. So filling it up with all the food that it needs, inoculating it through, and then keeping it watered and seeing what happens. So we're trying a whole heap of different experiments with those mushrooms.
that's definitely a video for another time.
Yeah,
I
for
think
sure.
we're getting, 'cause that's a good one.
There's a couple
I
questions
think
that have come through. Did we have an aerial shot of the area? Not on hand right now for us to show, but certainly.
There's definitely heaps of drone shots of Millen Farm. So if you jump on the Millen Farm Facebook site and just scroll down, you'll be able to find a whole heap of photos all the way through from the transition at the start from the bare paddock. I think if you go back about 4 years, all the way through to now where we've taken a drone shot, I don't know, it was a couple of months ago now, but it was just before we lost water, so the farm was looking in a prime. It looked
Right.
amazing. So that's probably the best shot to
Nice.
see.
Nice. Cool. All right. And then the other question was, are there any indigenous plants or influences in the area, like First Nation indigenous, that sort of stuff?
No, there isn't. We do a lot of native bush foods. The bush food section is sort of down the bottom of the farm. In the video, you can see that other tree system that was really designed around creating habitat and using natives. So we've got a lot of native bush foods down in that area. This area we wanted to sort of keep as an area where we weren't so restricted with the plant species that we were allowed to use. So we can see a lot of plants from all around the world, but down in that bottom section it is only plants from Australia. So trying to think about things differently as well.
Yeah, there's definitely a little bit of everything going on here.
Oh, for sure, yeah, it's everything. It's complicated.
Yeah. Okay, well, Arran, I'll say thank you very much for meeting with us again.
No worries, thank you so much.
I learn something every time I chat with you, and I love coming here and seeing how everything's growing, and so much effort over many years of many volunteers have been behind Millen Farm. So this is a really wonderful asset to Samford Valley.
For sure.
So for those watching, if you have any questions throughout the day on this video or the other one, please put your questions up and Arran can come back later and answer them. And that's it for today, but I will say that tomorrow, which is day 15, is our last day of our inaugural Samford Edible Garden Trail.
Right.
We've made it through, so we're almost there. Our garden tomorrow is really gorgeous. It's one of another local grower, and she's actually I'll just save that for tomorrow, but it's a pretty special garden. So we'll also be doing a live at 9:30 there, and that's at Lagoon Honey. And
Debbie.
At Debbie's place.
Yeah, she's got a lovely garden. Yeah,
absolutely gorgeous. So, and she's been gardening for a long time.
Yeah,
so
she's
she
awesome.
Knows what she's going to run us through some propagating tips and things like that she does. And I'm going to announce now that we actually have a surprise garden. So although the trail finishes tomorrow, we have a surprise garden on Monday where we're going to do a live garden tour with a garden that's outside our area. Now, I'm not going to say who it is. We will announce tomorrow who that is, but I'll just say that it's pretty amazing and we're going to have this opportunity to see this person's garden. So the next 2 days,
that's cool. Stay
tuned, and we've got some good gardening ahead of us this weekend. So thank you, and we'll say goodbye.
Yeah, see you later. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye.